Hey. And like we were saying before, we have my main Tallman, our keynote speaker, and also our person who's introducing Genoa. We all have a machine here shared name challenges. I would like to recognize all of our amazing Inspiring Teacher Award recipients. We're going to hear a little bit more about all these teachers, but we just wanted to give you a little preview here. And we also have a special recognition from the Ferguson Florida School District, where this is our home district, to recognize Gina Pereda, and a special shout out to her. So, whoops. So today is not just a day of celebration, it's also a day of remembrance. It's why the Challenger Learning Center exists and why we recognize 7 teachers for this event. On January 28th, 1986, we lost the Challenger Space Shuttle accident and its 7 crew members, including Kristen McAuliffe, who was going to be the first teacher to go into space. And on February 1st, 2003, which is 20 years ago, our center was just under construction when the Columbia shuttle accident happened, and we lost that crew as well. And 56 years ago, on January 27th, so recognize these dates, we have January 26th, 27th, and the 1st, all just several days apart. In 1967, we lost the Apollo 1 astronauts on the launch pad. So together, these 3 tragic events that all happened around the same time of the year, the loss of the Apollo 1, Challenger, and Columbia, make up NASA's Day of Remembrance. So with that, I'd like to read the statement that NASA released last Friday from NASA Administrator Bill Nelson. NASA's Day of Remembrance is about pausing, remembering, and uplifting the legacies of the NASA family who gave their lives to advance the cause of discovery. While this will always be a solemn day, it's also one of gratitude. We are thankful that NASA's adventurers shared their lives with us and made life better on Earth. So with that, I would like to play a video that was created last year, and that was for the 55th anniversary of the Apollo 1. So you'll see that, but obviously this is the 56th year on this NASA Day of Remembrance, which actually is today, January 26th.
Apollo 1 was, without doubt, a terrible tragedy. We remember the loss of those lives. We don't stop our quest, we don't stop our mission, but we continue to move forward in that mission of scientific discovery.
We come together today to mourn the loss of 7 brave Americans, to share the grief that we all feel, and perhaps in that sharing to find the strength to bear our sorrow and the courage to look at the seeds of hope. Sometimes when we reach for the stars, we fall short, but we must pick ourselves up again and press on. We bid you goodbye. We will never forget you. Sensed. This morning, Mission Control Houston have their space shuttle. The inspiration of discovery into space. In the skies today, we saw destruction and tragedy. Yet farther than we can see, there's comfort and hope.
Remembrance as to why we're here and also a testament to show the good that can come out of these tragedies. And that's why we're here, Challenger Learning Center, 37 years after the accident. It's just really amazing. And it's an honor to be here to be able to recognize the teachers are continuing on the mission. You know, I heard a quote once that one of the family members of the Challenger crew said, which I just speak so dearly to me. And that quote is that playing it failed, but the mission was a success. And so for those of you who haven't been here before, which I think is quite okay, so a fair amount of you. And I'm going to ask all of those at home to raise your hand if you haven't been here before either. And so for those who are curious who we are, what we are, besides this great place that rewards teachers for all their hard work, we also do some pretty cool things. I'm going to show you a little video that'll give you a little bit of background about the Challenger Learning Center.
Welcome to the Challenger Learning Center, St. Louis. In January 1986, the crew of the Space Shuttle Challenger launched on its 10th flight. Among the crew was a teacher who was chosen for the mission to teach lessons from space. Tragically, the crew perished in an accident shortly after launch. After the accident, Challenger Center was created to carry on the legacy of the heroic Challenger astronauts and continue the mission of inspiring the future generation of explorers. Today, school, community, and corporate groups throughout the region get to take part in exciting space mission experiences where participants transform into engineers, medical professionals, geologists, and computer programmers. And it isn't just for kids. We help corporate groups, families, and community groups boost their problem solving, teamwork, and communication skills with a variety of space-themed activities. And just like the STEM professionals at space agencies worldwide, every participant has an important role on a team, and all teams must work together to successfully complete their mission objectives.
A trip to a Challenger Learning Center brings classroom lessons to life. We work every day to engage students in science, technology, engineering, and math, and inspire them to pursue careers in those fields.
Spacecraft, this is Mission Control. We read you. Over.
The Challenger Center experience is dynamic and unparalleled to anything else offered to students.
Visit us today to learn how you can experience one of our award-winning programs. Your mission awaits you at challengerstl.org.
And we would love to tell you more about that as well. So many other programs. Bonus points if you can figure out who the narrator of this video is by the end of the evening. So now I'm pleasure of introducing someone who's a very long tenure with the Ferguson-Florissant district. She's been here a week now, we understand. So coming straight from Georgia, and we invited her whole family is here to support her. It's Tamoya Rose Watson. She is the Assistant Superintendent for the Ferguson-Florissant School District for Diversity, Equity, Inclusion. And she is going to come up here and introduce our keynote speaker. So come on up.
Thank you. That was a very powerful opening for tonight. And the word that struck me was hope in that video, and thinking about teachers in the room, the hope that you bring to all of our students, our families, and community members. So I want to thank you. It's a privilege to be able to represent the Ferg Floor team tonight. And it's also a pleasure for me to introduce Akbaret Boykin-Farr. Akbaret is the Vice President of Diversity and Social Responsibility at Emerson. She has more than 20 years of experience in human resource, including organizational development, recruitment, retention, benefits administration, and legal compliance. Before rejoining Emerson, Boykin Farr served as Vice President of Human Resources for Nidec Motor Corporation. She's a proud graduate of St. Louis University. She completed both her graduate and undergraduate studies, earning a doctorate in philosophy, a master's degree in business administration, a bachelor's degree in science, dedicated to serving the local St. Louis community. Farr serves on the board of the Urban League of Metropolitan St. Louis City Academy, Junior Achievement USA, and St. Louis University. It is a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's kind of painful to listen to a whole introduction about yourself. Thank you so much. Thank you. So you'll have to bear with me. It's dark. I'm old and I can't see, but I do have notes. So I did think through this a little bit. But it's really a pleasure to be here and to celebrate your accomplishments. So I just have a few thoughts that I wanted to share. I don't know if I'd go as far as to call it a keynote, but just a couple of things. And I was given a few guidelines, so hopefully I can stay within those and obviously within the time. So I thought about what should I talk about? And one of the things was, to tell your story. So with educators, I thought it would be good to tell a tale of two Veras. So the Charles Dickens story, right? A tale of two cities, a tale of two Veras. Vera, V-E-R-A, which is typically in English used as a woman's name. So one of them is my mother. Her name is Vera. And then the second Vera is a teacher I had in high school. So I think with all of that, I'll get to tell you a little bit of a story. So the tale of two Veras. So I think about it is my mother was an educator. She was a first grade teacher most of her life. She was very soft-spoken. I guess to teach first grade, you have to be kind of soft-spoken, but she commanded a lot of attention in the room. She was able to deal with the hugs, tie the shoes, and keep the order all at the same time. She taught school. She's originally from St. Louis and taught school for St. Louis Public Schools, but then decided that she wanted to do more. She, I don't know. Let me just tell you, I substitute when I was in college and realized at a very young age that it's a special calling for certain people. So I remember keeping a little boy in from recess and he just talked my head off and I was like, oh my God, I can't do this. It's too much responsibility. So hats definitely off to all the teachers in the room. So anyway, she taught school, she taught first grade, she was gonna join the Peace Corps, thought the fitness test was really difficult. And then she ended up deciding that she was going to teach for the US military. So if you're familiar, some of you may be with the teachers that teach in the military. And so this is in their early 60s. And she wanted to do, on a personal note, wanted to do mission work in the evening and teach school during the day. And she decided and left her family. She wasn't married. She was a single woman, didn't have any children. And so she left her home to teach overseas. And her first assignment was in Turkey. And her family said, well, go ahead, but we know you'll be back in a very short time. But she was a reader. She was a reader of Pearl Buck books. She just loved to read. And so she knew that the world was bigger than St. Louis, but she was a kind of a homebody. And she left and she was an African-American woman. And so to go in the 60s and to teach school, she couldn't stay in the dormitories with the other teachers because the teachers stayed in dormitories, which you get a picture of the times that we're talking about. And so she had like this, she had what we call grit right now. I think that's the word we talk about. She had this like grit. She's really quiet, soft-spoken, never yelled. I got none of that. My children have heard all octaves of my voice, but she never yelled, and she was very stern and strong, and she didn't come back to St. Louis for 20 plus years. So she definitely planned and lived out that. She taught herself how to play the piano. She wrote poetry. She taught first grade. She did mission work in the evening. And so when people ask me like, what is your story? that's what my story is. That's kind of the legacy that I was left. And so when she traveled the world, went to all these different countries, ended up in Ethiopia, and decided that she was going to adopt children. She went to adopt one, and then she ended up adopting. They talked her into adopting 2 children, which is somewhat perplexing to me. It's not like, how do you get talked into getting 2 children? I have 2 kids, and I mean, I don't know. But I think she adopted 2 children and 2 girls at the time. And fast forward a few years, she adopted 9 children, never married. I don't know how she did it. I said I have 2. And she was a teacher too, so she wasn't really making a lot of money. But she had a sister in St. Louis who was a nurse and would help her. So my point is, people say like, well, what is your story? What is your success? Yes, I've been a part of Emerson for 27 years, hard to say out loud, but a long time. But a lot of that is really because of a teacher. And she just happened to be my mother. And that's why I say a tale of 2 stories, because I don't know sometimes if, I'm sure you do, but in the daily grind of teaching, and certainly your students probably may or may not appreciate this, you're having such an impact on young people. The tale of 2 Veras, my most favorite teacher in the world, she was an English teacher my English teacher in high school. And her name was also Vera. So maybe there was a little love there already. I don't know. She was tough. She would mark your papers up with red ink. And she would say, and, comma, but, comma, so, comma, what? Which meant, what were you talking about in this paper? And she did it with such care. And, she really wanted us to be successful. And we lost touch for many years. And then recently we came back in contact with each other. And then she read my daughter's essays for college, because I thought she was the best writer I had met. And so I thought, I don't want to pay anybody to read these. I don't want to read them. I know who's an expert. And so just to know that teachers really have such a long impact on young people's lives. I mean, I feel that there are so many injustices in the world, and certainly one of those is the recognition that teachers receive. But I think because you've chosen that profession, somehow it's rectified and corrected in your mind, and probably you have a lot more happiness and so forth than many. So anyway, that's kind of my tale of 2 Veras. Why STEM, I think, was one of the questions. So I work in human resources. So I don't touch, for the young people, I don't necessarily touch the products. Like, I help the people that help make the products. But what's important about STEM is you're making the decisions. You're the decision maker. You're doing the innovation, because innovation is definitely what's going to set us apart. You're creating the global workforce that's being created. You're also learning how to manage teamwork, problem solving. You're using technology. Sometimes if you don't have a STEM background, you don't get the grasp on how technology can make that big difference, and how we can use it. You think about AI. I mean, it's scary at some point if you think about artificial intelligence, but why not be a part of the creation of that and build all the correct things that need to be built into AI. So, and then the third question that I was asked is, what students need to learn that they're not taught in school? So not science, not technology, not engineering, not math. When I see individuals join our organization, the things that I think are really important are things that are not hard skills that you learn in school, but I think about things like respect, learning how to advocate appropriately for yourself, knowing how to use your voice, knowing how to conduct yourself and be responsible, learning how to work harder but yet smarter, because you can work so hard but not work smart, and that can impede your progress, and you have to figure out what that is for everyone. And then I think the last place that I would like to leave is on the Challenger Learning Center. So Emerson has been a part of the Learning Center for some time. I wish our individual was here. He is a big personality. He loves the Challenger Learning Center. He is just the #1 supporter, I think, definitely within our organizations. But I asked him, so what do you think about the Challenger Learning Center in the community and how does it help? And this is a direct quote from Ray. So Ray, if you're watching, these are your words. Programs such as STARS introduce young people to tremendous number of employment possibilities through the center, strong relationship with major multinational companies, for example, like Emerson. Emerson is one of those companies that the center has the relationship that we can host students at our campus each year, and they can learn about what we do. They're exposed to speakers as well as to people from diverse backgrounds and engage students to shine a light on opportunities that are available. Because there's some careers that you don't even know exist. And so when you have these type of partnerships, you're just exposed to what those possibilities are, things young people probably haven't really thought of. So again, thank you so much for the opportunity. I congratulate all of you teachers. I know this just seems like maybe a Thursday night in a room, but it's really bigger than that. It's kind of like, I would equate it to the People's Choice Awards because the students have made their voices very clear. And so I hope that's heartwarming and really shows you what great work you're doing as well as what you're going to do. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I'm not a teacher. I haven't done anything. Thank you so much.
So I have a good story about Akbaret. So as Akbaret mentions that we would bring a group of students to Emerson for a tour every year. First of all, people always think, oh, it's so far away, but from our door to Emerson's back door takes what, 3 minutes? Yes. Maybe 3 minutes. And so that realization for kids in this community to realize how close by this amazing company is. And Boeing, of course, is not that much further on the other side, and Express Scripts. So we're surrounded by all these amazing corporations. But what we do with Emerson, we bring these group of students in. And one year, this is when Akbaret was still in HR, and we wanted to talk about how to conduct yourselves, as she mentioned during an interview. So Akbaret did a interview don't presentation. Do you remember this? Yes. It was probably it was like, kids are sometimes not engaged. Like they were all paying attention because Akbaret was so engaging and she made it really fun for them and really helped to connect them to something in a way that was really meaningful. So we really appreciate that and the partnership, like she said, and with Ray. I think Ray, the first time he came in, he literally had tears when he came into our spacecraft. So yeah. Okay, so thank you so much for your words, and I love your stories, your two tales of Vera. Remember that. Okay, so now the moment we've all been waiting for. So we are going to introduce each one of our award recipients, and we're going to have the person who nominated this teacher to come on up and tell us why you nominated this fabulous teacher. That's right, Lewis, come on up. So Ann Deken, who's a 6th grade science teacher at Forsyth School, was nominated by Lewis Wang. I have to come on up. And
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lewis, and I hope you guys have been having a wonderful night. I'm from Forsyth, and at Forsyth, we have a lot of good teachers, but today I'll be nominating one of the best teachers that I've had, Mrs. Deken. First of all, Miss Deken, well, first of all, as a Forsyth teacher, Miss Deken is very knowledgeable. And although knowledge isn't everything, it's something. But being a great teacher, besides being knowledgeable, Miss Deken also has extraordinary skills in communication. And she's always patient and listening, as well as being creative and inspiring in her teachings. Through my experience as her student, I noticed that she doesn't do a great job, but Wait, no, a good job. Wait, no, I messed it up. A good job, but a great job. A good example of Mrs. Deacon's teachings was earlier this year during the muscular system. This unit easily could have been a dry, boring class of just memorizing all the muscles, but Ms. Deken managed to make it interesting. She spent extra time preparing and organizing the class, and she spent her own money to purchase chicken wings for us to dissect in the classroom. This unique approach brought us so much fun and inspired us to love biological science even more. When Ms. Deken walks into the class, you can tell she's not in there just to do a job. She's there to pursue her passion. Ms. Deken, thank you for being a great teacher, and I'm very lucky to have you. And you deserve this award a lot. Thank you, everybody.
All right, stay here just a second, Lois. We're going to get the award and take some pictures. All right, so Anne, come on up. Where's Anne? We have our photographer. Where do you want us? Over here? So, picture of myself. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Actually, why don't you present this to the speaker? I'm going to stand up to the side. How's that sound? Yeah. Yes. Oh, we have a little gift bag too. Don't forget her. Okay. Okay. Next, we have Kristen Dowling, who is a 9th grade science teacher at the Collegiate School of Medicine and Bioscience. And she was nominated by Genoa Teater. And so if we can have Genoa come on up.
Hello, my name is Genoa. There's a lot I would really like to say, but I was told to keep this brief, so I will try and hit as many points as I can before my time is up. The first thing I would like to acknowledge is that this year has been really hard for both CVPA and CSMB. I don't know if you guys haven't been paying attention to the news, but if you have been, then you'll probably know we were a victim of a shooting this year. And I just want to thank Ms. Dowling for still showing up every single day and still approaching us with the same enthusiasm, if not more, and really making school fun for us. She was such a big support to me and really made me feel safe coming back to school, even after all that happened. Now, more focused on the actual science aspect. The current class I'm taking of hers is the Principles of Biomedical Science, which is a very interesting class. Just by the first unit, I could tell that this class was going to be very interesting. I mean, there was a dead body, a fake one, but still, I could tell that this was going to be a different approach to learning, which I was excited for. And it has not been a disappointment. I have had so much fun in her class. I feel like every day she teaches us about a new field in the medical world that you could go into if you wanted to. Just today, we learned about 2 different jobs. I believe nurse practitioner was the main one, and it's very interesting, I might say. It's definitely on my list of possibilities. But all in all, I am really happy to be her student, and I think she deserves this award with everything in my heart. And now, in case you wanted to know, my current ideas for career paths are either a cardiologist, inspired by our current unit on the heart, or not current, past unit on the heart, and orthodontist. Random, but I think it's pretty cool. So thank you, Ms. Dowling, for everything.
You're gonna make me cry. I wish we get to warn people. Yes. Okay. Yep. And next we have Jennifer May. She is a third grade teacher from Ellis Elementary, and she was nominated by Amber Adamson. And Amber is not able to join us this evening, but she did record a video. So notice that Jennifer May, third grade, and Amber is now a teacher herself. So back in third grade. So let's go ahead and hear what Amber has to say.
Hi, my name is Amber Adamson, and I nominated Miss Jennifer May for Inspiring Teacher of the Year Award. Miss May is a phenomenal teacher. I loved being in her class about 20 years ago or so, give or take a few. But when I was in her class, way back in third grade, I loved being in her class. I thought of her class as an adventure every single day. Her class was basically like living in a real life magic school bus. You never knew what kind of adventure you would go on. She basically is Miss Frizzle minus the school bus. In her classroom, we would take many adventures in learning. She had us exploring various STEM activities. We would do science experiments. We would explore the world around us. One of my most favorite things that we did in her classroom was an egg drop, where we had to design some sort of device or some sort of capsule that would keep an egg protected. And I remember Miss May climbing up a ladder and tossing it off of the roof. I don't know if mine survived or not. I just remember how excited I was to go through that STEM process and to see my engineering come to life. Again, don't know if it survived or not, but it was very fun. I also recall that in her classroom, we had a space station where we got to read books. We had planets that were hanging from the ceiling. And I even got to meet a few astronauts during my time in her classroom. From all these activities and fun and learning, I became interested in science, and even better, I became interested in inspiring the next generation of students. So thanks to Miss May, I was able to find my career path, which was teaching. And now I currently teach with Miss May at the same school. I taught the same grade with her for a while, but now we're in different grades. But I know that whenever I need help, especially with something science, or I need help with a STEM activity, I can always go back to Miss May and seek advice. So I want to thank her for helping guide my career and my future, but also I want to thank her for being an amazing teacher and inspiring me to think outside of the box and to look up at the stars every once in a while. And just like Miss Frizzle says, make mistakes, take chances, get messy. We definitely did that in her class. And I am so honored that she was able to get this award. And I wish her nothing but the best. May the force be with you, Miss May. Congratulations.
And she does have some pretty fabulous space stories. So yeah, she told us some of them when she came in. So some really great connections there. Okay, next we have Lindsey Mueller. She is a 9th grade biology teacher at Eureka High School, and she was nominated by Aeris. Lindsey also, she's teaching tonight, and she really to be able to see. I have Aeris here, so if I can ask Aeris to come on up.
Hi, I'm Aeris Murray, and I nominated Mrs. Mueller I had her for biology last year and science research both last year and this year. I've loved science, specifically astronomy, since I was around 3 years old, and Mrs. Mueller has helped me a lot with getting more into other types of sciences too, and with research. Before I took any of her classes, I used to not be very interested in biology or environmental science, and now I'm a lot more interested in it. In science research, we do things with different sciences, along with each of us getting to conduct our own research on a topic of our choice. We give multiple presentations throughout the year to prepare us for whenever we need to give presentations about our research topic. And it doesn't only help with that, but it also helps with giving presentations in other classes and also right now. I used to get lots of anxiety from giving presentations, but now I don't have as much, and she's helped a lot with that. She'll have us do different activities in class to help us learn or just as brain breaks. Some of the activities we've done include a cupcake baking and decorating competition with a few extra things added into it so that it connected to what we were learning, puzzles, and making bubbles, which was pretty fun. I like that she has us do these activities because it's more engaging and fun for learning, and it helps me learn a lot better. She pushes us to try our best. It's easy to ask her questions, and she sometimes asks us about due dates to make sure that we have enough time to complete things. Along with everything that she does to help us learn, for our science research class, she also has a candy drawer because we're a small class and we all work pretty hard. Along with that, she'll also bring in treats if we complete something big and stressful. For example, a few weeks ago, we were peer reviewing our final papers. And it was pretty stressful because we had to do it, and it was finals week, so that was kind of stressful. And she brought in cinnamon rolls for us. She's in a couple years.
Next, we have Gina Pereda, who is an 8th grade science teacher at STEAM Academy Middle School, and she was nominated by Hailey Reynolds. So come on up, Hailey.
Hi, my name is Hailey, and I nominated Gina Pereda as my candidate. I had her as my 8th grade advisory and science teacher. Initially, my speech was supposed to be about how Mrs. Pereda has driven me to pursue a STEAM career, but after thinking more about it, I like to say how she's changed the meaning of STEM for me. I've always thought STEM stood for simply science, technology, engineering, and math, but Mrs. Pereda showed me a deeper meaning. For science, I bet by now we all know Mrs. Pereda is a wonderful science teacher with her love for the subject. It has drawn me to appreciate science a little more and of our planet, especially enjoy little times like looking up at the sky. She showed me that all living things have a backstory, and it's up to us to learn about them and to educate ourselves for the better. For technology, Mrs. Pereda may not be the biggest fan, but little does she know she demonstrates it every day. The definition of technology is, and I know I'm going to mess this up, the application of scientific knowledge for practical purposes. This isn't my way of saying she's a robot, but by how she's taught me with her knowledge of practical purposes. She's a very practical teacher and educator. Her knowledge is out of this world. She can easily exchange knowledge with others.
That's right.
And make it easy to understand. Engineering. Most people would interpret engineering as building or creating. Due to Miss Pereda, I now believe it means creating something new. Out of nothing. Perfecting something until you have a vision you've created for yourself, not only in creating, but within life as well. Engineering means not only creating something new, but allowing yourself to get messy and explore. To know that there will be trial and error, but that doesn't matter because as long as you're creating and using your imagination, you're engineering. Math. Ms. Pereda has also shown me that math is not always about numbers. It can be a real world problem, including finding a solution after you've been thrown in the wrong direction and examined other possibilities before finally reaching an answer. Math doesn't necessarily mean numbers and a mathematical equation, but any problem can be solved with the right knowledge. With that, Mrs. Pereda makes me believe I can reach for the stars no matter how short I am. I may not know what job I will pursue in the future, but with the new interpretation I have of the phrase STEM, because of Ms. Pereda, I am confident that I will most definitely be creative, let me accept failure, create something new, and make a reality for myself that I can build and change. Thank you, Ms. Pereda, for always going the extra mile and being a wonderful role model, showing not just me, but all your students how to be caring, hardworking, nurturing, strong, and an independent woman.
Oh, you did a good job. You got to give these kids a lot of credit standing up and giving a speech. Not easy. All right, next we have Lisa Stortzum. She is a 6th grade science teacher at McKinley Classical Leadership Middle School, and she was nominated by Alexa Parsons-Mentel. And unfortunately, Alexa was not able to be here either, so we have a video from her.
Hi, my name is Alexa Parsons-Mentel, and I nominated Ms. Stortzum for an Inspiring Teacher Award because she has sparked my interest in science. I have only had Ms. Stortzum for about half a year now, but she's already very awesome. She's the 6th grade science teacher, and I know I'm definitely also not alone in saying that she is one of the grade's favorite teachers. One of the reasons we love Ms. Stortzum so much is that she's always open to ideas, questions, problems, etc. Yeah, she's awesome. Before 6th grade and Ms. Stortzum, I never quite understood how far you can go with science and how many branches and paths you can take. And she's very caring. She's always going the extra mile to help kids when they need it. An example of that is when my sister was in 6th grade, she also had Ms. Stortzum as a teacher. At the time, my sister was enrolled in the science fair. And even though, she had an idea that required a fish tank. And even though Ms. Stortzum had never met my sister in person, Ms. Stortzum offered to bring her extra fish tank and even her pet hedgehog over to our house to give it to us. So yeah, to this year, Ms. Stortzum has inspired me too to join the science fair. I've already started my project, and even though it may be hard, Ms. Stortzum has been helping me and giving me ideas, insight, help. Yeah. Because of this year and the science fair and Ms. Stortzum, I have been inspired to potentially pursue a job in developing different energy sources, specifically renewable ones, which is what my science project is based on. So yeah, thanks, Ms. Stortzum, for being so great.
Okay. I'm not sure. Bring a headline, but something I'm gonna celebrate. Okay, and last but not least, of course, is Zareh, and she is a sustainability and sixth grade math teacher at Forsyth, and she was nominated by Andrew Fei. So Andrew, come on up.
Good evening, everyone. I know it's been a long day, but please stick with me. It's been awesome hearing everyone's nominations, so now I'll share mine. First off, my name is Andrew Fei. I nominated Miss Zareh from Forsyth School for an Inspiring Teacher Award. Miss Zareh is both my fifth grade and sixth grade, has been both my fifth grade and sixth grade sustainability teacher. She is also my sixth grade math teacher. Today, I want to tell you a personal story about how Miss Zareh changed and inspired me to become interested in environmental science. When I was 8 months old, my grandmother was diagnosed with stage 4 rectal cancer. Just a few months later, my grandfather was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. In the short span of 2 years, both my grandparents passed away. I was very sad because my grandparents loved me so much. Even now, I can clearly remember the scene of my grandfather sitting with me, watching TV about pandas while my grandmother fed me with delicious food in their house in China. Although I was only 3 years old, I knew I wanted to become a doctor when I grew up to help individual people fighting against cancer. During my 5th grade year at Forsyth School, Miss Zareh taught me whatever harm we do to the environment is ultimately done to us. During her sustainability class, Miss Zareh read a book to us called A Long Walk to Water, written by Linda Sue Park, which showed the challenges of not having access to safe and clean drinking water. I learned from the book that many children in Africa have to walk miles every single day to fetch water that isn't even clean, while some people in the United States have the privilege to get clean water straight from the tap and don't realize how precious it is. I wanted to bring this fact to people's attention and also help the children in Africa. Luckily, my opportunity soon came. I wrote a fictional story about what the world would look like for a day without water for the St. Louis Aquarium to inform children about the importance of clean water. Miss Zareh encouraged me to read it aloud to my class and inspire my peers. I really liked the sustainability class at Forsyth because Miss Zareh made the class content so engaging. For example, one activity we did was to race jugs of waters around the school track to simulate the hardships of children in Africa. Miss Zareh organized a fundraiser as part of the H2O for Life project to support the building of a community well in South Sudan. Miss Zareh organized a school project to recycle used candy wrappers during Halloween as part of our sustainability class. Miss Zareh also organized a school club called Earth-Based Wisdom, where we developed native plant-based ecological restoration skills. As a 6th grader, I now not only want to become a doctor fighting against cancer, but also an environmental advocate, because I learned that protecting the environment can help people on a much, much larger scale. Pollutants in air, water, and food have all been linked to cancer. Looking back, I remember there was a polluted river behind my grandparents' house in China. I suspect it might have some connections with the cancer they developed. I look forward to continuing to learn more in sustainability classes and develop the multiple skills to prepare me for both a cancer doctor and an environmental advocate. Miss Zareh is a kind, supportive, and passionate teacher. I am so grateful to have her as both my math and sustainability teacher. I'm enthusiastic in supporting her in receiving the Inspiring Teacher Award. Thank you.
We have a future environmentalist and orator here, so.
That's just wonderful. Wow.
It's great. We always say you never know where the work is going to come from, whether or not it's a visit to the Challenger Learning Center and learning how cool STEM is through experience and through hand activities, or something your teacher does with your class. We only get to see the students for a few hours, but these teachers are with the students every day, day in and day out, for the good days and the rough days. And so we really, really applaud you, all of the teachers out there, for what you do. And we're just so glad that we have this opportunity, like we heard from Akbarat, to be able to recognize all the teachers who are working every day to help inspire the future generation of our innovators, explorers, and scientists. So with that, I also want to recognize our partners that we exist here locally through a partnership of the Ferguson Florissant School District, the St. Louis Science Center, Education Plus. So I'd like to recognize all of those folks. And then once again, thank our sponsors for this evening's event, Emerson, Education Plus, STEM SEL, and the Science Center. And if you're wondering, how can I help support us? So there's lots of great ways you can do. One is just sign up for our newsletter so you can hear about really some amazing programs and activities that we do. You can support us through a donation, and you can tell a teacher, tell a friend about the program that we do here and help to inspire the future generation yourself. So we, again, would like to just thank all of you for being here tonight. Let's give another round of applause to all the teachers. And so what we're going to do next is ends our formal portion of the program. And we're going to ask all of the teachers to come up here. We're going to turn on the lights, we're going to turn off the presentation. So Melina can first also want who does all of our amazing social media and all the pictures. So I want to thank her for her work that she does to help us all the time. And lastly, of course, also want to thank my staff for helping me pull this event together and all the events and programs that we do here as well. And we have Caitlin sitting in the back. She's a production coordinator, making all this run very smoothly. So thank you, Caitlin. And Kristen also supplied all these really great awards, and we have some goodie bags for the teachers as well. So thank you, Kristen, for that. All right, so we're going to get the teachers up here for